12, my apologies for not being in class today. I'm at a max potential meeting. Today in class you will be working on your assessment task, which is due next week. Now, hopefully your teacher that's covering you has handed out your responses that you wrote for me on Friday. There's a range of feedback on them. Please identify where I've put ticks in your response to show you that what you've written there is good and needs to stay there. And any times I've written things just to identify for you where you might need to tighten up your response. Also, if there are lines through certain parts of your writing, don't take it personally. I'm just trying to highlight to you things that don't actually need to be in your response and will actually improve your response if you take them out. Before you start working on your Part A and Part B for your assessment task, I actually want to show you a sample response to the question that you answered on Friday, just to sort of highlight some detailed information that you could try and put in into your response. It is really important when you're doing your Part A that you get straight to the point. You don't try to put any judgment in or analysis, but you just get straight to the point with clear and specific information. One other thing before we start, this sample response will be on the Google site underneath the Speer section. So, Albert Speer's early work for the Nazi Party, appointment as the first architect of the Third Reich, and involvement in the Nuremberg war crime trials were significant events in his life as they allowed him to gain influence and build up his reputation. Speer joined the Nazi Party in 1931 as member 474-481, where he began his early work for the regime as a driver for Nazi rallies and campaigns. This was significant in his life as it initiated his rise to prominence through the connections he made and the reputation of being a hard worker. One of these was with Karl Henk, a Nazi district leader, who provided Speer with opportunities to display his design skills. Henk gave Speer his early redecorating work for the Nazi Party, which proved successful and resulted in job offers for high-ranking Nazis. In 1932, Speer was asked to redecorate Goebbels' headquarters, claiming in his book Inside the Third Reich, "It was the luckiest turning point in my life." Through these opportunities, Speer was able to catch Hitler's attention, which led to greater architectural opportunities in the future. Hence, Speer's early work for the Nazi Party was a significant event in his life, as it allowed him to create connections and gain future opportunities. Further, Speer's appointment as the first architect of the Third Reich in 1934 was a significant event in his life, as through this he was able to display his hard work and skills. At the age of 29, Speer had never designed a building, but he was assigned the responsibility of building the new Germany, with the capital Germania being the centerpiece. Speer was put to use in coordinating events for the Nazi Party, such as the 1934 Nuremberg rally, where he created the blood flag scene, the nighttime rallies, the mass Nazi flag scene, and the Cathedral of Light. The rally proved successful, and this encouraged Hitler to order Speer in 1935 to design the expansion of the parade grounds. In 1936, Speer was given the responsibility of rebuilding Berlin into Germania to become the symbol of the power of the Third Reich. Furthermore, Speer was tasked to create the new Reich Chancellery in 1938, which he excelled at and is regarded as Speer's greatest architectural achievement. The new Reich Chancellery was so successful that Hitler awarded Speer the Gold Party badge for his efforts. Thus, Speer's appointment as the first architect of the Third Reich was an important event in his life, as it allowed him to project his skills and impress Hitler, ultimately leading to great opportunities. Additionally, the Nuremberg war crime trials held between 1945 and 1946 were a significant event in Speer's life, as they allowed him to establish his reputation as the Nazi who said sorry. During the trials, Speer was the only defendant to express the remorse and sorrow for his actions, and this resulted in the lowering of his sentence from the death penalty to 20 years imprisonment in Spandau prison. Speer's imprisonment was important, as during this time he wrote his famous novel Life Inside the Third Reich. Through this novel, Speer was able to provide a unique perspective into his life during the time of Nazi Germany, but also portray himself in a more positive light, especially through his reaction to the scorched earth policy ordered by Hitler in 1945 and 1945. Therefore, the Nuremberg war crime trials were a significant event for Speer, as they portrayed him as the Nazi who said sorry, had him in prison for 20 years, ultimately sparing his life, and allowed him to write his novel. So, Year 12, that, if we have a quick look, was essentially, it works out to be roughly about 650 words all up. And look, it's not the most perfect response, but it does get straight to the point, and it does provide very detailed information and uses the language of the question to show the marker or the reader that you are, or the writer is addressing the question. One last thing before I let you get on to your actual work is that you should be very close, if not already finished your Part A. And I highly recommend using some of this if you need a bit more direction, to use it as a bit of inspiration to kind of refocus your Part A. But if you aren't close to finishing your Part A, or you are still working on it, I strongly encourage you to get on top of that as soon as possible, because it is really crucial that you start working on your Part B very soon, because that will be the one that gets you the most marks and the most weighting. Anyway, all the best Year 12, and I'll see you next lesson.